The RAD Podcast.
Okay, let's try this again.
All right.
Looks a little smoother.
Take two.
Perfect. Just like we rehearsed.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Much better. All right. So how have you guys been? It looks like you guys are enjoying your new digs, sheltering in place at your new home. How has it been?
It's been good.
Very good. Very good. No, we're really liking being able to be together and just, obviously building a home together and being, quarantined from the world. Well, I mean, we're teleworking, we go out, but not being able to do as much. It's at least I have somebody to pick on.
Fixing stuff that breaks.
Yes, of course. You're the handyman now, right?
I am.
Oh God! Is he? No.
I'm leaving.
So you guys have your own headquarters now. You guys can bring all your ghostly stuff into one place. And has that created a benefit, or have you guys brought in some new energies, or were there some residual energies there that you guys have had to deal with?
No, we did a full cleansing of the house before we moved in. That's so to remove any residual energy, because it's an older house, so they had a few layers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't know like all the people that came before. We wanted to start fresh with our own energy in the space. Yeah. So we did that, but we have combined all of our dead together. So
yeah, we have
we
brought our dead with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got my grandma. Everybody's here.
Right on. And so nothing too serious, nothing too angry at you, like what we're about to talk about. Some pretty serious energies that you've dealt with.
They're good. They're as long as Uncle Johnny's got his bar, he's happy.
Yeah, right on.
I know all the spirits are getting along really well, and nobody's frightening the cats. The cats are happy, so
that's good. They're usually the first ones to tell you, unless you're a medium, right?
I can tell they're schizoids anyways.
I could tell they're happy. They purr and stuff.
You guys are just acting like that married couple already. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're not the first person to tell us that.
Well, we did have the pleasure of hanging out with you guys in Jackson, and in fact, that was such a blast. I had so much fun with you guys. Cool. It's always a good time to just be around you, but also to get involved with your work. So it's always a pleasure, and I'm always honored that you let us tag along. But this last episode of the investigation is probably the most popular episode that you guys have, at least for the Prodcast altogether, but also for the Spirit team.
I saw that. Yeah,
it was a very touching and intense case. It was this whole combination of being so desperate to help the client, help Kristen, and make sure that she felt safe and comfortable and good. And I have been talking with her, through Messenger and stuff. We've been communicating still and seeing how things are continuing to go and advising her. And there was all of that and just really wanting to help her. But then there was the addition of all of those miners from the Argonaut and the Kennedy and all the history that a lot of those souls wanted help too. So it gave it some real intensity for me.
Yeah. And, I think that a lot of these cases that we've been a part of are always different. Even though there's some similarities in how they interact with you and your meters and everything that you bring along. But every case seems so different and individual to those clients that you're helping, because they affect everybody so in such not a passionate way, but I guess an intense way that I think that for Kristen in the last episode, she actually she's almost like she's a different person from the first time. That was the first time I met her, and since then, just talking to her 2 weeks later, it just seems like a world of a difference that you guys have helped her get to.
She changed her skin tone, everything. Her whole attitude dramatically changed just even after we were done with the cleansing, and it's something we see in a lot of and it's a beautiful thing to watch that transformation. But I mean, we're just part of the healing process. We're just there to help facilitate them doing the healing. We're there to help them do what their soul wants to do in the first place. And she wanted to learn about her abilities. She wanted to have a home that she could, be safe in with her child and her animals. So, she was actively willing to get the healing that we wanted to share with her.
And it seems like she's employed a lot of those the information that you've given her and all of the tools that you've given her. It seems like she's actually practicing it, and I think a lot of folks do, and it tends to help. I mean, I know when things are bad around my energy and my space, all I have to do, or Facebook, I guess, my space is outdated. But when I need to cleanse my area, it's pretty obvious, and it's something that's so simple, but I think can be overlooked because it could be considered like another chore. But smudging this room, I think I need to smudge this room because there's something bringing me down here, and I got to fix that. But
yeah. I mean, that's maintenance is key. I mean, we tell a lot of clients that. I mean, even the clients who are not spiritually inclined, like we are, just a little basic maintenance is necessary. Didn't you make sort of a good kind of analogy? You get a whole house cleaning, somebody comes in and does a Stanley steamer of your house, and then you just never do anything again. Yeah. You never vacuum again.
You don't have your house professionally cleaned and then think you're never going to have to clean it again, ever again. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Great way of looking at it.
Yeah, just little general maintenance. I mean, obviously some people need more than others, especially the gifted. You have to kind of keep on top of that. And if you have been having a little stress or anxiety and you've been concentrating it into one space, your workspace, your bedroom, wherever the energy has been concentrated, sometimes you just need to do a little tidying and lift the energy. So it's not that, obviously we press the reset button for a lot of clients, but I mean, you're continuing to live in the space, so energy is continuing to flow. You have to keep up on it.
And do you think that Kristen might be one of those that has just an empathic ability? That what kind of path do you see her going down with those abilities?
That's a good question.
It's kind of up to her what she decides. I mean, not all sensitives decide to explore it completely. Some people are just not ever comfortable with that. But she's definitely got an empathic sensitivity and a mediumship sensitivity. So she could clearly be someone that, engages the spiritual realm in a safe way, maybe helps others, similar to, either a spiritual counseling or maybe energy healing. It's kind of up to her, obviously she has to lay the foundation. She has to do the grounding. She has to put that, all those bricks in place first. And then the universe will just kind of start to present her with the direction she needs to go, and then she kind of just needs to trust that.
And that'd be the advice that I think that we would give to anybody who is embracing that side of themselves, that empathic or psychic side. The first thing is to learn how to ground and protect yourself. This stuff is very, very real, and learn how to protect yourself, learn how to ground, and then go forward. And any medium or psychic that's worth their salt will tell you that.
It seems like that could be employed in almost every part of life, and like at work, at home, in relationships. I think that's just having that confidence too, and letting ego aside, because if you get too glamorous about it and you're all about the attention, I don't think that will attract any good for anybody, really.
No, yeah, there is no ego that can be involved in this work. It has to be out of love, out of passion, out of a calling, out of a dedication, because the universe will remind you pretty quickly where you belong and where you don't belong. So you really have to be dedicated to this work, because it's not all glitz and glamour. It's hardly glitz and glamour. I mean, we encounter dark energies all the time and things all the time that remind us, this is about the healing and helping.
Absolutely. Brandon, I think we've mentioned it before, maybe on one of the other podcasts, that the number one rule, we sort of came up with this thing, but the number one rule of paranormal investigation
is not to talk about paranormal investigation. Oh, that would have landed if I got through it. Darn it.
The number one rule of paranormal investigation is that you never know what you're walking into. It's very, very true. We've had I can't remember how many cases where we've had, because normally it is just familial or something light. Not every case is dark. Normally it is just introducing people to grandma or grandpa or something like that. Most cases, that's what it is. But we've also had a lot of cases where we're like, oh, this is going to be an easy one. This is just familial. And we walk in and it's Armageddon. And so you got to be ready for that. You've got to be ready at any time. We've had a lot of cases where we walked in just saying this is going to be a routine case. And we're like, uh-oh.
You're far from routine. You always go in prepared.
They have 60 demonic portals in their house. Darn it.
Gosh. And
Yeah, that was an interesting
it wasn't
Right?
it wasn't that bad at Kristen's house, right?
That was a good example. We walked into that case thing. It was in Rancho Cordova, and we walked into that case thinking, this is easy case.
Well, I knew there was some energy.
Yeah, family that probably got a grumpy grandpa or something. We walked in there. There's demonic activity. There's open portals. They're messing around with the occult, and we're like, you never know what you're walking into.
Like, yay, surprise!
This, we've said it before. Can't say it enough times. I know that there's a sort of a looky-loo aspect of the paranormal, and people are tempted to dabble in it and say, oh, let's see what this is about. This stuff is very, very real, and it's real as you or I. And it can be dangerous when you come across the wrong time.
Giggity.
I knew the second those words left my mouth, I was like, damn it.
Let's keep this serious. This is serious.
We gotta have a little laughter and levity to keep it from getting too scary, I guess, right?
Yeah, and in fact, the last episode seemed to really scare a lot of people. And I don't know if it was when you were confronting the negative entity in Kristen's bedroom, or if it was the spirit box, or both. I mean,
I think I'm mad.
Yeah,
I was
never seen that before.
Well, here's the thing. Like most of the time, and a lot of the ride-alongs you've done, there's been some heavy energies I wanted to cross over and help them move on and that kind of thing. But something I've taught a lot of my clients, when there's a darker or heavier entity, especially one that is harming somebody, you have to be assertive. And I had to be dominant with my tone and that kind of thing. I wasn't trying to be mean. I wasn't trying to come from a fear-based or an anger-based place, but I had to come from a very strong, assertive, not fearful energy, because that entity needed to know that I wasn't going to tolerate what it was doing to Kristen. And somebody had to stand up for her. And I, as the medium, the one that could hear him the loudest and feel him the strongest, I had to tell him where to stick it. And so I did. And, and people, some people may say, well, was that close to provoking? What was that? I don't really consider what I did provoking. I consider it engaging it directly, being very, very assertive and direct, because it was harming a living person. It was scaring her animals. It was harming her, which was causing her to have issues. And she's got a child in the location. After it finished with her, was it going to move on to the child? We don't know. So I had to take it very serious. And I realized that, people were like, you like, what just happened? But I feel that it was necessary.
Yeah, it reminded me of my mother, who would get mad at me for, I don't know, not doing the dishes or not doing my chore, not cleaning my room, not getting up out of bed. Like you tapped into that maternal instinct that said, I am boss. I am the mama bear, and I'm here to protect. So I don't think that it was so scary as much as just, all right, you're taking control. And I think that was a really cool moment. And I feel like, Brent, did you have a chance to listen back to any of the audio of the Tascam or any of the playbacks? And did you notice any anomalies or anything affected in the audio that we didn't hear in the moment?
There was one thing, as there was a slight giggle in one of the, and I think we sent that bit to you. But yeah, I did go through all that footage actually, and I didn't notice a whole lot. And a lot of stuff I always try to debunk it. It's like, well, that could have been something in the background. There was one point where I was changing the setting on the microphone, and you hear this. I was like, oh, whoops. So, and people might think like, oh my gosh, what's that? No, I was just messing with the microphone. That was my bad. But there was actually one where there's this very And this is kind of like how you'll know, like it might be something that an extra, something that's on the recording that shouldn't have been there, is because it'll be very subdued a lot of times. These things are operating on a slightly different wavelength. They're sort of crossing or meshing with our wavelength a little bit. And a lot of times it'll sound like almost like a subcarrier channel. It'll sound like a little softer, like a little distant. That's what this did. And we were at one point in the investigation, and you said something, and there was this very, very soft little, I don't even know if I want to call it menacing, but there's just sort of this
a weird giggle. Because I sent that to Brandon.
A weird, creepy giggle would be a good way to put it.
Weird.
Yeah.
I'll insert it in here. I'll use my fancy editing techniques and put it right here. Whoosh.
That sort of shade, and he's like wandering around the space. I don't know what he's doing here yet. He hasn't said anything to me.
So
star swipe.
So yeah, we didn't know what that was.
And is that a cat?
That
is a cat.
Aww.
Cappy.
Come here, Taps.
He's like, screw you.
Come here, Taps.
Yeah, he'll come back.
We're gonna put him on camera, but oh well. He ran away.
He just wanted to come in and meow. Is it dinner time? No, it's almost dinner.
Almost dinner.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, feed me.
So have you? I have to put together a little like mixtape, I guess, because I'm not only recording with the boom mic, and I have the other recorder just on my hip.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we were in Kristen's son's room, and we were all feeling what felt like just more static electricity or some sort of it just almost like felt like there was a tingling along all my nerves, at least, and I think that everybody else was feeling it as well. But there was a moment where things just almost like a feedback of hum that just slowly rose and stayed constant for the time that we were in there until we finally said, okay, it's gone. It's just a really cool stuff that you can really pick up on just not normal recording equipment. This stuff is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I mean, even those little handheld recorders, you can catch all this kind of stuff, even if it's if you know what you're looking for. Now that you've helped out Kristen, how busy are you guys? Are you still trying to help people out every chance you can, or has COVID really slowed you down?
She's doing readings, anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week, and we still have, on average, sometimes we have a break, but on average we have 2 to 3 cases a week, and we're always very busy. We're helping as many people as we can, as quickly as we can. So you people out there that are having to wait a year for your cases,
I'm so sorry.
please know that we are getting to you as quickly as we can. We do have full-time day jobs as data analysts, and we do this on the weekends and nights, and we are getting to you as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, we're booking, I don't even know, late fall, early winter of 2021. I don't even know what to say about that. It's good and it's scary. And then as far as phone readings, I'm able to kind of hodgepodge people in and sort of intermingle people in throughout, the best I can. That's a more like early fall of 2021 for the phone readings. And of course, we are still leaving those gaps, those purposeful gaps for emergency cases. Kristen was one of those because, a child and animals and she was getting affected. We had another emergency case this last weekend that we can generally talk about a little bit too. And there's a couple other people that I've just, if it's a really urgent and I think it's, has to happen right away, I will do everything in my power to juggle things around. But like Brent was saying, we're human, we have day jobs. There is only so much we can do, and I do provide a lot of aftercare resources or pre-care resources, self-help documents. If people just need referrals to energy workers and other light workers, I have a list of people I actually trust, because as you and I both know, there's so many people out there that are a little hinky. So I want to give people the right referrals. So people can still absolutely reach out to us anytime they need to.
There's no doubt that you guys go above and beyond. So I think that I love that you guys are so on top of everything, even though you're booked out, you're still there to help. And just great people. I just love you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon. We've got the hotline. If somebody just needs somebody to talk to, if we're here,
we'll talk to you.
Yeah, if we're here, we'll answer it. Call the hotline.
We gotta follow up on that story you told us about from a listener that called you. Was it from Ohio?
Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that.
If you want the longer version of that story, I can tell it.
Yeah,
I wish that he would call back, and I know now we have a different number, but I wish that he would reach out somehow and.
Well, it's on our website.
Yeah, I wish that he would just let us know for sure how things are going, because what he called from was not a number we could call back. I think it was like a payphone or something at a restaurant or a gas station.
He was, from what I got from him, he was a RAD listener that moved out there. So he had been more in this neck of the woods, and then of course listens on the app out there. And what it was he was breaking up with his wife, I believe it was, and the wife's sister was a black witch. Oh, by black witch I mean that she did black magic. So apparently he thought that this lady had put something on her, or put something on him. I mean, and he felt like an entity following him around. He fled his house. They locked his house up and fled his house at night. Bless you.
Thank you.
Fled his house at night. It was 4:30 in the morning there. I think at 2:30 in the morning here, and I did 5:30 there actually. And he stopped at an all-night convenience store and looked up our information on his phone and called us from a phone booth, called us from a convenience store and said, the thing's in my car with me, it's following me, it's in my car with me, and it's trying to make me crash my car. I don't know what to do. And I talked to him for a while, because when I hear something like that, the first thing I'm thinking, okay, is this guy drinking and driving? Are there drugs on board? There's a few things that I kind of have to weed out first. And so I talked to him for a little while, and I kind of came to the conclusion that he was pretty lucid. He was pretty clear-headed. He wasn't slurring his speech or anything like that. And he made sense. He was making sense. And really, that's the cat. And he was making sense, and he seemed pretty clear-headed. He was just very, very scared. And I said, well, I could stay on the phone with you for a while. I said, but I think the best thing for you to do is go to a church and park your car as close to the front doors of that church as you can. Doesn't matter the denomination, just any church, and park there and go. Just stay in your car and stay as close to the front doors as you can. And when they open in the morning, tell the pastor everything that you've told me, or the preacher everything that you've told me. If the police hassle you, have them give me a call. I will tell them that I told you to go there, and it'll be my fault. So, and there's a couple days later, and the number came in from that same call came in from that same number, and there was sort of this like, and then he hung up. So I don't know. What
was your vibe from that call? What did you pick up from that?
I was hoping that he's okay and he was nervous or just didn't want to talk.
Or
I don't know.
Embarrassed about,
I feel like if he needed help, he would have asked for help, but I don't really know. It could have. He also could have thought it could have gotten worse, and he could have thought that he would sound crazy and didn't want to sound crazy. Because that was one of the things. It's one of the things that I kind of listen for when I talk to people. The sane ones usually say, well, I know this is going to sound crazy. I know how this sounds, but when they don't say that, I'm like, but every case is different. Every case is unique, and every case is different. But,
and that was kind of an astute observation of you earlier, Brandon, is that every case really is very unique and very different. There's no cookie cutter way to resolve stuff for any of these clients. And that's why we tailor our approach to each and every single client that we have. They all need a little something different. They all require a little different attention, which is why our cleansing documents are something you can tailor. Some people, to ground or to meditate, the way they're going to ground or meditate is going to be different. And we allow people to have that kind of not one size fits all approach. we are an eclectic group with different faiths. We utilize different, backgrounds in our own cleansing stuff, and also some of the people that we have consult for our team, because it's not all cookie cutter, and it never will be.
4 different people in our group, 4 different faiths.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it even more exciting every time you go out, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got to say hi to Teppy. Come
Oh,
on.
all right.
Oh, let's say hi to the kitty.
Here's Teppy.
Hello, world.
Don't mess with this. Aw, that's my Tep.
Poor Teppy.
He's like, Jesus Christ, Brent. This is my Imhotep.
Aw,
And there's his little fancy, sparkly collar.
that's awesome.
He does not look like Elton John. Don't even
I
give
didn't
me
even
that.
say it.
You were thinking it. I could hear it.
You guys are funny.
Isn't he a beautiful cat?
How old is Imhotep?
He is just a little over a year old.
A very feisty 1-year-old.
Yeah.
And there he goes. He's like, I'm done with you now, Mom. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, he hasn't broken too much stuff yet.
That's good. Just wait. They get older, they get
Yeah.
more rambunctious.
Oh, he's got a lot of attitude, and he's about 20 pounds.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my
So
gosh.
I don't know what I do. I grow big cats.
You've got a furry thumb, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So are you? So let's get to this case that you guys did recently, and I know that you have to be a little bit. You got to be on the hush hush on it because it's kind of a big deal, right? You're collaborating with some pretty high people on the high ups of the entertainment industry, even higher than radio.
Yeah.
We were contacted by a popular television show, and we'll leave it at that, to do some aftercare on one of their cases, i.e. they needed the problem fixed.
Yeah, so we are not going to be on the program. The whole program did their part, did their deal, but we were specifically requested as the aftercare resource for that client, because it does fall close to our geographical area. It was like 20 minutes outside of our typical service area, but obviously when somebody calls that we trust and they really need our help, and they're and they say, hey, this is for this particular program, and we need this resource, we said, all right, well, we'll bend. And they were getting hurt, and a lot of bad things were happening to them, and it was very aggressive. It was touching the wife of the house inappropriately. It was becoming very detrimental to them, so they needed help right away. So we made an executive decision to come in there and basically give them a little bit of help and a little bit of love. And I actually want to give a shout out to one of the people that we brought in as
We actually brought in help on this one.
Yeah, we brought in a consultant because that was specifically also requested.
Yeah.
And we do have, again, a collective of people that we trust in the community that we're willing to collaborate with and work with. And we worked with Michael Gorman of the Sacramento Grove of the Oak, Inc. He is a Druid. And very nice gentleman. He's written a book. He's really he's a smart guy. He's been a Druid for, this is his lifelong, kind of journey. And that was one of the entities was kind of fearful of intimidated by anything pagan, witches, warlocks, druids, anything in that sort of scope. And so they specifically needed that type of energy to help push that energy out of the space, right? And obviously, I can get my attitude on and do all of that, but we needed that extra layer. So we went in there collectively, and
it had to be a male druid, because this entity, much like the Kennedy mine entity, this entity did not think much of women. So in this case, one of the things that was requested was a male pagan person, somebody that the entity would be like, oh, I guess I got to listen to you, kind of thing.
Do you often get called in to, I guess, be the fixers? Because I don't want to say that you guys are cleaning up their mess, because that's not what's going on here. You guys are just adding that extra support, right?
That was not what was going on at all. This particular instance, with the way, especially with production and filming goes, they do call on local help to do aftercare. That is the recipe for it, because they can't stay for the excess time to do all the things. They have to go around and they have to keep filming. That is what it is. So
well, one media outlet did call us the plumbers of the supernatural.
Yeah, no, we'll go in and help it. No, they didn't mess anything up, but they identified the various issues that were occurring and what it would take, as like they created the recipe of how to fix the issue, and then we were asked to be the facilitators of that healing and that fixing. And so we went in there and rolled up our sleeves, and there were several entities that needed just help crossing. They were lost and they were being trapped by this one dark, really creepy entity. And so
I counted 7.
Yeah, I think that's
7 that needed to be crossed over. Yeah.
There was a plethora of souls that were being held hostage by this darker entity. And so we needed to get in there and help resolve it, and also educate the clients. And so through the techniques that we know, and also that our friend Michael, he knows with his practice, he was able to but both of us get in there and educate the clients on how to maintain energy, because they're both sensitives. The husband, he can see dead people. That man's a medium. He can full on see them. And the wife, I would say she's probably a physical medium as well. And she's also an empath. And so she's absorbing all the energy and feeling all of it. And we've since been in contact with the couple, and they're doing so much better. They actually slept a full night. Nice. The husband isn't feeling aggressive or angry anymore. The wife is feeling so much lighter and brighter and better.
The wife said her old husband is back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got the messages from them, and it's just that profound change. I mean, it was humbling to be called in and be trusted by some of the people in the industry, and they said, hey, here's a case, help if you can, do what you can. And to be that resource for them, not just going in and blessing the house, but still being their resource to talk to and get advice from.
Huge honor.
Yeah, it was a huge honor for us. And we also referred them to Sierra. So,
nice.
Big shout out to Sierra Padva.
That's part of their upkeep.
Yeah, that is part of their energy work and their energy clearing. But it was a really dire case and a really difficult case, and that energy and that entity became extremely aggressive with us.
It did, and we said time again, this is this kind of work is real. This kind of work is dangerous, and maybe from the skeptics we'll get a little bit of pushback on that. Like, this is the paranormal. What's going to really happen? What do you mean dangerous? Yeah. Melissa was scratched 3 times. She was pushed. It tried to push me down the stairs. I got kicked in the knee.
It growled at us several times.
We got growled at several times. We're still going through the footage to see if the mics caught any. This thing was aggressive, and it was on the defense, and it was fighting back. And it fought back every step of the way, and it inflicted physical damage. And it was ready to do serious harm. It tried to push me down the stairs from the attic.
That is insane. I've never heard you guys talk like this before. Is this the most intense case you've been on?
This one is the one the one I got the most profoundly physically affected. I mean, I get affected every time. It takes a lot of energy from me. But I don't think I've been scratched. I think I've noticed little mini scratches, and I wasn't sure. But these were big scratches. I sent you the photos. Yeah. In places that I couldn't get to.
Broke the top surface of the skin in a place where you couldn't reach.
Yeah, and one of which was right near my angel tattoo that I have.
And I got no fingernails. See?
Yeah. So and the thing is that we were there the whole time. We were there with the clients for about 8 hours. We spent all day with them. Yeah. And then right when we got home, I was like, I'm really sore, because it was a long car ride home, and it was kind of near the Fresno area. So it was a long drive home, and I take off my shirt and everything, and I'm getting ready to get yeah, I know. It's a lot of fun, right? And I'm getting ready for bed, and Brent says, what the hell is that?
Right.
And so he gets the light on my back, and he's like, wait a minute, there's this. And wait, there's one on your shoulders, one on your lower back. And I said, yeah, it burns really bad. And what was really interesting is during the course of the case, I felt like a digging and twisting in my back. And I knew that it was trying to attack me. That part I knew, but I didn't realize it was actually leaving physical marks. And you can go ahead and use those photos if you want to use them. There's nothing, embarrassing.
Nothing risque or anything.
There's nothing risque about them. So,
Start
There's
swiping.
a point in we took some footage for our own, just for our own documentation, and that footage is not something that we can release until after the TV show does their bit. So we're going to be holding on to that.
yeah, that is not airing till February.
Yeah, so it'll be sometime after the show airs. Then we will definitely release our footage on our YouTube channel. One of the things I don't even know if I mentioned to you, I was filming you, and you'll see in the camera on our footage, I whip around 180 degrees fast and look at the living room because something grabbed me.
I didn't realize that had happened.
And I thought Mike was behind me, like I was about to step off a step or something.
Yeah.
I thought Mike was trying to pull me backwards, and I whipped around the camera. And there was nothing there.
Wow.
Now this thing was on the defense. It saw us as a direct attack, and it tried to defend its territory. And it tried to do it viciously, and it tried to harm us.
Yeah, and this is not the first case we've had physical harm, but it's been a while. I have a picture in my computer of a case where there was an aggressive entity, and Brent got a huge bruise.
Oh yeah, I remember that case.
On his arm. It was like that long.
We got a picture of this big old handprint on my arm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And did you feel it happen at the time?
You felt something grab you.
I did. I did. In fact, I think it's on the tape. That was a crazy case too.
That was.
I didn't realize that there was going to be a bruise or anything, but I think I said something on the tape at that time. I said, "Don't you come up behind me. That's not going to end well for you."
and then he's like, "Wait a minute, no, I have a bruise."
Right.
Yeah. So it was. It's one of those things that people don't understand. Well, like, I want to go investigate with you, and let's do this and do that, and blah blah blah. And a lot of the little simple cases, the little scouting missions, we love to have.
Fun,
we
sure.
love to have guest investigators and that kind of stuff. And people who are a little more seasoned, we collaborate with, like we did just recently. We bring you guys because you guys have some experience and you're good at grounding and all of that.
Gotta be good at grounding.
But honestly, this kind of stuff where I'm very well protected, I am very in control of my energy, and I've got all the bells and whistles going on, and this thing still tried to get some pot shots off at me. Yeah, it didn't really affect me more than a little tiny, set of scratches that eventually heals. But that's a real thing. And anybody of weak energy or that's not totally balanced or grounded, what is it going to do to them? It's not just going to scratch them. It could jump them. It could cause an oppression or possession. That is why we don't have every, Tom, Dick, and Harry coming on a freaking case. It's not safe. It's not responsible, and it's not ethical.
I was there to catch you in case it tried to push you down the stairs, which it did, but you were braced, and I was the same thing. I was just double braced and just like hanging onto the timbers, and we were super careful coming down this thing because I was right as I was at the top of the stairs. I had this hand right on my back and tried to push me forward. I was like, no, we're not doing that.
So I know that the footage isn't going to be available for some time until it airs on the television program. But if I just so happen to, I don't know, be at the Ghost Whisperer's house, and I don't know if the tape just kind of ended up being turned on somehow, maybe get a preview. I don't know, maybe if I flash my VIP.
You could watch it.
Yes.
but we can't.
There are such things as private screening.
Yes. Excellent. So does this kind of stuff, do these cases that actually cause you physical harm, does that ever make you go, oh, I should probably cut back on this, or I'm not going to go out next weekend? Do you take some extra time off, or you just get back in there?
We formed this group to help anybody who needs help, and forward understanding of the paranormal, so that people understand that the paranormal is a real thing. But we've said many times, all four of us in this group grew up in haunted houses, and the founding principle behind Spirit was to provide a resource to provide real paranormal help and paranormal and spiritual resolution for people who thought there could be no help or hope for them. That's why this group was founded. So anytime we have a serious case with a heavy duty spirit that needs an attitude adjustment, bring it on. That's what we do.
Yeah. I agree. I second that. No, it won't stop us, because that is the point of the heavier, ruder, meaner, darker energies, is they don't want this kind of help being out there. Right. So no, it actually drives it home even more why we have to do this.
Absolutely.
Who else is gonna, who else is gonna do that? Like, you go into the darkness because you are the voice for sometimes the voiceless.
Yeah, exactly. Your cleansing kit weighs 35 pounds and contains blessed materials from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
We've done thousands of hours of research and learned our craft before we ever put on a t-shirt or ever went into somebody's house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your work is admirable, and I'm so blessed to call you guys friends, and I cannot wait until we get to see each other again, but also I can't wait to go on another investigation. So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We'd love to have you.
We'll probably drag you out on something else. I'm sure we'll have another one that suits you and
excellent.
and that fits everyone's schedule, of course, and clearly with these times that we're in, we are very limited on our ability to we can't even have our full team on.
No, it's just Melissa and I lately, so that we can maintain that the 6 foot distance.
Yeah. We're doing everything. We can't if we can't wear the mask, we're doing the 6 feet, or we're limiting.
And or both.
And or both, and we're limiting our number of people on the case. So we're trying to do our part, but we have to worry about physical health and spiritual health now. It's a lot of extra things, but it's an honor to do the work, and it's an honor to work with you too.
You guys are becoming a real valuable resource for us as you're learning the ground and you're learning how to combat the stuff too. And you guys are excellent help for us. We appreciate it.
You're wonderful satellite members.
That's great, because I've actually been going through some pretty profound stuff individually. I'm pretty sure my Kundalini activated the other day. It was pretty overwhelming. But it's been.
We're gonna have to talk about that.
I know.
That's a whole other conversation. That's another show.
Absolutely.
What part of your body did you feel the sensation?
It was my lower back all the way up my spine, and it was.
Exciting.
I have to put all my thoughts down on paper, because it just happened so rapidly out of nowhere, and it was almost like a panic attack. And I wonder if I've been feeling these panic attacks, but it's been really my Kundalini, which I don't know enough about, and I haven't really been practicing.
You gotta be careful with it.
I know, and Brent warned me. By the way, last week was our 2-year friendsversary, first ever meeting, since you guys came out to my house and did an investigation there. So 2 years, we did it!
Happy anniversary!
Yeah, but I think it was that meeting when Brent said that he felt, I don't know what compelled you to say something, but it's that I was working in Kundalini energy, and you told me to be careful with it.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, wait a minute, are you messing around with Kundalini? I remember that, and it was just an instinct. It was just that intuition of I had the idea that was happening with you. And
so ever since, I've been really I guess I haven't been skeptical, but I've been careful as you instructed, because I didn't want to do anything to harm my spiritual path. And I just I said today on the radio that I like to just ride the current, and I've been really trying to employ that in all aspects, including my spiritual journey. But it's coming out of nowhere, and I think it was just after we had the investigation with you guys, and so I wonder, by being in that area where there was so much activity, that it might have maybe triggered something or pushed something forward a little bit more. In your experience, do you think that locations can have an impact on people's energy, in that case?
100%. Yep, absolutely.
So you can walk away from somewhere, like the mystery house, for example. And if there is something there, you could walk away with some kind of one of your powers unlocked, right?
Yeah, and there are just regions that have that kind of energy. There are thought to be, and this gets into sort of a whole nother conversation, but there are thought to be 7 major energy centers on the Earth, where these are giant vortexes. I don't know if vortex is the right word, but giant areas of very high spiritual energy. And people go there and have lots of spiritual experiences. The one closest to us is the Grand Canyon Four Corners area. That entire area, the Four Corners, Grand Canyon, a bright sign, that entire, that's how big these energy clouds, if you want to think of them that way, are. They encompass an area that large, and there's 7 of those on the planet. One of them is the Grand Canyon area, and very, very common for people to report spiritual experiences, spiritual awakenings in that particular area. If you want to have a spiritual experience, go to the Grand Canyon.
Right on.
If nothing else, the darn thing is humbling, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That it is.
What were you doing as you were having that back tingling and all? Like, was there anything going on that day or the couple days before? Anything?
Nothing of significance. And when it happened, I was in bed, and so nothing exciting was happening there, unfortunately.
No,
but it was
that could be a thing.
But I was just laying there, and it was almost like I haven't really been sleeping that well, so I don't know if it was. My mind tries to rationalize it to, okay, it's just anxiety or restlessness, or I'm not taking the time to turn my body off. And it just turned into this building up sensation of tingling, and it almost like just kind of made me rigid, and I just kind of just pulsated there for a little bit. And I don't know if I was visibly doing this pulsing motion or if it was just what I was experiencing internally. Haley was there, but I couldn't. She was asleep, so it wasn't like I could say, "How am I looking right now? Am I?
What's going on?
Am I doing my Kundalini right? I don't know. But it was, so I don't know. Maybe it's something to explore in another episode.
Yeah, this type of energy does spontaneously activate in people. Most people have to do exercises to try to work with the energy, with somebody like Sierra helping them with that. So that's how most people kind of work with this energy. And certain individuals, it just decides to do its own thing, and it decides to activate all on its own. And that may be what's happening to you. You're a very spiritual person, Brandon, and it wouldn't surprise me that much.
Yeah, some people it is very spontaneous, or they're born that way. And some people have to work on it for a long period of time. So it just kind of depends. And the people that try to fast track it are the ones that usually end up mentally unstable or fractured.
You read my mind, definitely. There, and I'm going to preface what I'm about to say here is that it is okay for some people. If they're ready for it, then it's fine. But there's something out there called Stargate classes, and those Stargate classes are for people who know what this energy is, are used to working with it. They're very advanced with it, and they want to go for broke. And that's fine if that's what they want to use those courses for. Those Stargate classes are not for the uninitiated. They are not for the people who want an introduction to this energy. If you're not familiar with what this type of energy is, please, people, do not go to these Stargate classes thinking that you're going to have an overnight experience, because it's serious business. We've talked to people who have destroyed their lives trying to go to those Stargate classes.
Yeah, doing it fast is not always the solution.
The fast track's not always a good idea. Like I said, if you're ready for it, you typically know you're ready for it. Mm-hmm. If you're a beginner, it's sort of like trying to use the aviation example, because I'm an aviation person. It's sort of like learning to try to fly a Cessna 152, and you're just learning the basics, and then let's just hop into the space shuttle and do that as lesson number 2. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, doing stuff with Sierra, doing it nice and slow. Would you stop it? Doing stuff with Sierra, nice and slow and steady and thoughtfully. Mindfully and in a very methodical way. That is the healthy way to explore any type of energy working, whether it's Kundalini or whatever it is, whatever you're trying to do. If you want to be a Reiki master, all that kind of stuff. It's not you wake up one day and suddenly you are that. It is a process. And I think over the last couple of years, talking about, our friendiversary and everything, you've been working with Sierra for a little while before that. Then you were, doing stuff with us. You've been doing this beautiful, careful blooming of your soul and your energy. Yeah. And to me, it's a phenomenal progression. So when you're saying, hey, some stuff is starting to tingle, Well, yeah. I mean,
You've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah, that's kind of where you're at.
That's how it works.
You're watering the garden and it's blooming.
That's really cool. I just never, you just don't know what to expect. And I think that for people that want to force spiritual enlightenment or whatever to reach that next level because it's the cool thing to do to post on Instagram, I don't. Obviously, they're not going to get the same thing out of it. But
No.
I got to say that ever since this Kundalini thing happened for me, excuse me, I don't know, I got a tickle in my throat.
Yeah.
Maybe the energy's moving faster than you think.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's trying to shut me up so I don't give away its secrets. I don't know. But I've been seriously humbled since this happened. And it's just been over the last week. And I think, Melissa, I was messaging you on last Friday where I was like, I need to get something off my back. There's something on me. And I don't know.
You were having some trouble. Yeah.
And maybe it was just because I wasn't ready for it and I was just kind of scared, or because it just felt like something clicked and then it just started to smooth itself out. So fortunately, I didn't need to have you bust out the big med kit. But
what I did in lieu of that is I just gave a little gentle, polite distance Reiki your direction, just in case you needed anything.
I think that helped.
So, you seem to be fine, which is good.
Yeah,
you look good. Yeah.
It's been a wild ride, but I gotta say I'm enjoying every minute of it, and I'm so glad to have you guys along for it, and I'm excited to see this footage. So hopefully I can hang out with you guys soon, because this last case sounds so fascinating.
It was a doozy. I gotta tell you. I mean, it just there was different things at every turn.
Yeah.
And the fact that I got scratched like that, it definitely gave me pause.
It's unusual. It's unusual to have that kind of energy that can actually affect the physical on that level. So I will say that type of thing is exceedingly unusual. It's not the norm at all. We've only really had it where it could kick and push a handful of times, and over 430 cases, less than 10 of them have been like that.
Well, I'm glad you guys are okay, and you're alive and well. And
we're professionals. We know what we're doing.
Right.
No, I come prepared. I have big chunks of black tourmaline and all my other stuff. No, I had all of the different preparations, but most of all, I grounded and centered before we even went to the case, because I knew that it was a dark case. So I definitely put my shields up.
We kind of go into these cases knowing what the outcome is going to be, and what I mean by that is that we know that we're going to stay there, and we're going to work with it, and we're going to fight until we win. And if that's a 12-hour case, then it's a 12-hour case. We're not leaving until the job's done.
A 12-hour case. Well, thank you guys so much.
Our record is 7.5, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't leave till 8 o'clock.
Did we break our record in Fresno?
I think we did.
8 hours. Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That wasn't 8 hours. We were there 8 hours.
You guys are beasts.
Yeah. Awesome. We were tired when we got home. We were very tired.
Well, it's great to see your faces. It's great to hear your voices, and I can't wait to see you again in person. Thank you so much for taking the time and recapping all this and giving us so much more juicy meat here, spiritual meat. Is that such a thing?
No. All mutual on this side, bro. Can't wait to see you too.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night.
You too.
Take it easy, Brandon. Thanks.
Bye.
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 The RAD Prodcast. The RAD Prodcast.